What impact have you seen comic book movies over the last decade or so have on pushing visual effects forward, potentially faster than if there weren't all these comic book movies?
Well, I think that the appetite for these big spectacles, certainly comic book movies, the DC and the Marvel worlds, have really helped to sort of push that, keep us pushing forward. And I think because of that, because more and more of these kind of movies are out there, and the audiences still are coming, so the appetite still seems to be there. So for these big visual effects extravaganzas, which hopefully are, I say visual effects extravaganzas, I think it's always story, story, story. It has to be story, and it has to be character that drives them and makes them successful. And if it becomes just pure visual popcorn, then it's to me boring. I mean, you need to have a film there, and I think that's particularly what the MCU stuff does so successfully, that it makes sure that the films as a whole work. And because of the appetite for the scale of them, the budgets of these movies are obviously immense. So it allows us to play in a sandbox which is which is vast, and play to a level of detail which is incredibly high, I think, in the standards. And so that has helped the visual effects industry overall, because everybody's learning and everyone gets better as you do it more and more, I think.
What's it been like, because you've worked on a lot of the Marvel movies, and moving, over the years and moving forward, more and more of these different characters intersect with each other in different films outside of even the Avengers. What does that bring to the table when it comes to visual effects and the individual characters as they start interacting with one another more and more?
Well, I think we always need to be very aware of what's been set up in an origin story, or what you've seen a character being able to do. And so often there will be certain things that you'll talk about of, we want this character to do this, and you think that's kind of a bit like Hulk would do. Yeah, okay, we can't do that then. We'd have to think of a different way so that our character is unique. And one movie may be having the same character at a different time period, and think, well, how can our story arc have gone from here to here, and for that person now to have that power? Does that make sense? And so you're always working with the sort of logic and how things fit into that cinematic world. But I think that having it spread across different films, and having different teams of artists and creatives working on it, it brings a sort of a fresh look each time you see that character. And hopefully each film and each iteration builds upon it, and they get more and more refined, but bigger and broader at the same time, if that makes sense.
What is it like for you to step into brand new comic book universes? Like, obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was your first entry in there. You got Captain Marvel coming up. I mean, what's it like to just get that fresh, I'm jumping into this brand new kind of thing?
I think it's really exciting, and Guardians was very much not in my wheelhouse. It wasn't sort of something that world, that fantastical sort of stylized world that we were going into, a big space opera. It's a comedy. It's all these things that I hadn't done before certainly at Marvel. I'd done more, I say grounded, if you can call Avengers 2 and Iron Man 3 grounded, but they were more real Earth-based, generally. So we're going in this space, crazy James Gunn world, and it was very exciting. It's very exciting to go into areas where you're not comfortable, and I find it always visually, and creatively very challenging to do that kind of stuff. And then doing an origin story, I did the first Captain America, and I'm now, just starting up doing Captain Marvel, and sort of building that character, and you're building the aesthetic, and creating, figuring out along with all the other creatives and the other filmmakers, what the powers are, and what do these things look like, and how should this person act, or what does the world do around them at this particular moment. All those weird and crazy things. It's incredibly exciting. I love my job.